Can't read
Okay.
it from here anyways. Call the meeting to order. Right?
Yep.
I need a motion to call the
No.
meeting to order.
No.
No?
I
Just
make the
call
motion.
Okay, I
No.
don't remember.
No.
Haven't done this for a long time.
Just a pledge.
Oh, pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of agenda and changes and additions.
Yes, there's two of them.
Okay.
There's one that is in gray, a resignation, and then also a coach that is that we added as a late addition for Heliot. So
Then on the back, is this an addition?
yep, there's them. Then
And
they have
M.
the addition for the calendar change.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda and changes?
I make a motion.
Someone writing this down. Okay, good.
Of course I am.
Go ahead.
You think I do.
Can I have a second? Who seconded it?
Second.
Chad, thank you. Approval of minutes.
Now you have to
What?
call for a vote.
Didn't I call? All in favor? Anyone opposed to the agenda? Okay. I haven't done this for a long time. Approval of minutes, considering the approval of minutes of the school board meeting from July 21st, 2020. 21.
Make a motion.
David, can I have a second?
Second.
Nelly. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion passed. Consent agenda. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Make a motion.
Nelly, can I have a second?
Second.
Chad, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Is Krista gonna be on Zoom?
She's not yet.
Okay.
She might, this might be her,
Okay,
not muted for sure.
it says, oh,
Go home.
I hope she's not mad that we started without her.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, good. We started without you, sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Uh,
Show you my face. Look, see, hi.
hi.
It's impressive. I know.
Okay, thanks for
Glad to
coming.
see you.
All right.
Community reports, no highlights or recognitions?
The only thing I want to mention is there was a lot of people this summer that have jumped in and to help out. We've moved some rooms. Carl and the football team to, again, Gary Meyer and his team for the baseball field. They've just been, the teachers have come in on their free time to come in and move some rooms, move some things around. They've been patient with some of the adjustments that we made. So I just want to recognize, more or less just say thank you to them for their work this summer and coming on their free time. So appreciate it.
Public comments? Okay,
Question.
oh, yes,
So I apologize.
go ahead.
I know I asked during the summer. Of the lessons include this CRT theory.
Oh,
Oh.
The
Yeah, I thought you used to read this before.
critical race thing. So, well, I really don't have to respond to that, but I can if you guys want me to.
The critical race
theory.
theory that
Yeah.
everyone's upset about.
Yeah. I'll just put it this way. It's not a state standard.
Okay.
And we're not teaching it. I mean, we teach our kids to be respectful of each other and inclusive to everybody. And that's the short answer. I think it's just,
Yeah, that's
so.
it. That is the point.
so,
Thank you.
so thank you.
School
I'm
board,
sorry. I didn't hear the question.
Basically, are we teaching the critical race theory?
Oh.
So,
and no.
No.
School board committees, updates, negotiation committee.
sounds like the teachers might get started
Okay,
relatively soon, but not technically yet.
well,
They're starting to move.
makes sense. Legacy Committee, I don't think they've done anything that I'm, oh, well. Yeah, nothing. Community Ed. Okay. Finance.
Have not met.
Okay. LPAC, we met last week. Basically, all the coaching things that we're approving tonight is what we talked about.
Oh.
And then we are not having a game at Westcott.
Correct. And then the other thing is, and it's in the handbook, but I just want to make it, we are implementing a yellow red card
Oh,
for our spectator events this year. So if there is a issue, the site supervisor will walk over, hand a yellow card to the fan, the student, whatever. Basically, that's the card will, in summary, says, you're out of line, get back. This is what you're here for, is cheer for the kids. And if it ends up not improving, they will get a red card and they will need to leave immediately and be not allowed to come to the next event. So
I forgot about
less
that one.
more discreet, I guess, when hopefully that's the intention. Other schools have implemented across the state and across the nation, so we're gonna try that.
We talked about passes. But
Yep. Passes,
I don't remember what
they
we,
did go up. Oh boy, I don't have that with me. If I can jump in this.
60. I don't remember.
Seniors have stayed the
We did,
same.
yeah, seniors stayed the same, so that makes my dad not yell at me as much.
And
And we went up a little bit. Is it in our handbook? somewhere?
it is. Towards the, in the spectator area, I believe.
Well, when you find it, holler.
Oh,
Okay,
45 for single, 80 for a couple.
and then seniors.
Seniors is 25 for a single and 40 for a couple.
Okay, 25. All right. That was about it on that. Facilities Committee,
We have not met.
Library Committee,
Also have not met.
SMEC Board. I don't think I've gotten any emails on that.
No, the only thing I want to add, and I can add this in my
Yeah,
report too,
just
but
do that.
we met today, so last month I brought up this, or with you guys, the strategic plan idea. SMEC is looking at that as well. So we spoke with Gail from MSBA about doing a strategic plan to kind of build some direction for SMEC across all 7. So they have a better idea. So we're working on that. And the one thing that I'm going to ask you guys just to share with me from a board perspective, are you getting enough information regarding SMAC? What questions? Because I don't know if you're getting enough. Maybe it's exactly, maybe you just want, if I feel it's adequate that I give you to you, or Carl gives it to you from the board.
This is how I feel, that the email we get from
Dan,
Dan, that should be fine. And then if there's some issues, you just let us know.
Okay.
That's how I think. Would be,
yep, that's
I guess.
fine with me.
Board's just this way. Don't have anyone over here. I don't need to look at them.
I actually agree with that. I think that
Right.
it's a nice synopsis that we receive from them, so I think it's helpful.
And I spoke with Dan specifically on this question, and he brought up that board minutes, when you guys have the board meetings, they are posted to the SMEC website. So if the public wants to go use those, similar to us, so.
I remember there was a meeting. All right, financial reports.
All right, so I still don't have internet here. For those of you with small devices, I did email out these reports this afternoon. But I'll talk through just a little bit. So the first one we've got is our financial report for July. I don't want to talk about July much because July is kind of like it's almost like a non-month from a finance perspective. Like we hardly have any bills. We hardly pay our staff in
Correct.
July because the teachers we accrue in the previous month. So very small payroll, very small, really much of anything. So, and all the percentages and stuff look weird because of things that are like a one-time payment, like we paid our property and liability insurance for the year in July. So all of a sudden that one pops up to, you know, a big percentage. And yeah, one thing that's gonna kind of haunt me all year, I've got this fiscal and other costs line. I budgeted for the food service transfer that we'll do at the end of the year. So we'll always be waiting on that transaction to happen. So you have the report. If you have any questions on it, I'm happy to answer them. There's just so many kind of oddities in there that I don't want to spend a lot of your time talking about it. I will say fiscal 21 though is looking very good right now. Our auditors are working on it already. They're doing their audit remotely now rather than picking up a table and hanging out here, and then I have to be here the whole time they're here.
Oh, that's nice.
So works out really nice, actually. I hardly hear anything from them.
That's even better.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It's been kind of a unique couple of years. So, you know, fiscally, we're looking good with some of the savings we have related to COVID, where there's just things that we don't spend money on. We're not traveling. We have fewer substitutes. Our utilities costs were down at times. So there's some tangible savings that kind of add up from a lot of small things. And then federal grants are coming out of the woodworks right now. It's like every time I turn around, they announce something else. We got notice that there's a homeless grant that won't do much for us, but we can do a consortium
Well,
and work as a team. And it kind of seems to me that even if we don't have a single homeless student in our district or need any of those services, by being in the consortium, we could at least direct that to a neighbor that actually does. Otherwise, the state will reallocate it some other way. So look for something on that, maybe in Jamie's report. I don't know if he's talking about that, but I'm hoping that goes through as a consortium. And then the other thing is our operating referendum is now fully in effect and producing revenue for us. So we will now be in the position to have money to do good things, which is the opposite of where we were 5 years ago. You know, 5 years ago it was, well, what can we do to get by? How can we manage to use bubble gum and duct tape to keep things together? You know, we've upgraded our bus fleet. We're looking ahead to some investments in facilities, lots of different things. We can also do staffing upgrades when necessary. You know, we're adding another 6th grade class, and that's not even giving me heartburn. So it's a good place to be. So yeah. It almost looks too good, which is
oh, that's scary.
yeah. It is. So that's a work in progress right now. I'm trying to get the last couple things knocked off the punch list for 21. So
I'm glad. I'm really worried about COVID, and I'm glad. I mean, to have that outcome is.
Yeah.
I think we were all thinking this could be.
well, it's really bizarre
Yeah.
from a finance perspective.
We shouldn't have
Because
come
there's
out on it.
well, there's so many things that, you know, we spent money on masks and extra cleaners and yeah, and those largely got
Paid for it.
paid for with federal grants.
Yeah.
And then, but on the flip side of things, when you close down for distance learning, nobody's driving around. We have less bus fuel. We're, you know, just all sorts of things turn into savings at that point that are you just don't think of until they're staring you in the face. And it's just kind of out the savings has outweighed the spending a little bit. So it puts us in a good financial position, and it just feels really weird to be in a good financial position as a result of a pandemic.
Mhm.
So, and we've got all these federal grants that are still coming down the pipe that need to be spent on specific kinds of things. So, we'll be working on that as well, trying to be thoughtful and creative on what needs to be done, what should be done, what can be done, and go those directions. Try not to get ourselves in a long-term hole of something that, you know, has to be maintained or replaced, or if it does, make sure that's manageable. But that's a lot of work to do on that front in terms of deciding what we can, could, or should do with all that money. So, all right, I'm gonna flip over to our treasurer's report. So we did have a decline in cash in July, which is normal for us in July. When we get to the next thing, which is our checks, we paid St. Ansgar for tuition. That's a year's worth of tuition. That's a 6-figure check. So when that comes through, we notice. But still, we're at $1.1 million worth of cash at July 31st. So it's a nice place to be. I've got a couple investments out there that are earning very, very little, but something. It's nice to have the flexibility to be able to set $250,000 aside and say, I'm not going to need this for the next 6 months or 12 months, and roll with it. So that's a treasurer's report. I'm gonna flip over to the bills. And let's see. EMC insurance companies, that is a year's worth of property and liability insurance, $24,000 there. Let's see. Yeah, there's St. Ansgar for 119,000. One of the things that's looking good, I'll say looking better on that, we had a couple seniors, there's a couple more, so it looks like the pendulum's going to swing in our favor a little bit over the next 5 years as some of the kids that are going down to St. Ansgar graduate. Really both the list of kids from here going down there and the list from there coming back, both lists are shrinking. So it's still definitely in their favor a little bit, quite a bit, but it seems like it's balancing a little bit. So that's helpful. Dakota Transport, that's a new name for us. That is the material for the baseball diamond. One of the things I often get in July is payments to other districts. We do a lot of sharing of services and things. There's a payment there for just about $3,000 for Grand Meadow. That is technology things that we work together on. On the top of the next page is Leroy Ostrander for $4,500. That's also technology stuff, but different technology. Grand Meadow hosts a lot of the website and server kind of things. Leroy is hosting a lot of the communications things. So a big chunk of that is actually long distance billing. And there were some costs that went along with the phone system. So we actually share a phone system with everyone in the SMEC group. So, and then US Bank, 53,000, that's our debt service payment. So,
Oh, I thought that was for the stadium.
That's close.
we all got season
Yeah,
tickets.
I was like, what did I see?
So that's bills.
Oh.
You're up for a motion.
Can I have a motion for the bills? Is that what it is? For the bills. Dave, can I have a second?
I can second it.
Give it to Chris.
Chris, we'll go Krista just because you haven't gotten in yet.
It doesn't matter.
No,
Everyone should have.
You
that.
can, if you can hear my croaky voice, it doesn't matter.
all in favor?
Okay.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Reports and presentations. Superintendent Jamie Goble.
All right. Most of my stuff is later in the action to discuss, but just to highlight a few things. Enrollment on my desk right now, Heather gave me, I haven't signed those or even looked through them, but there's about 12 to 15 open enrollment forms.
All sixth graders.
It wouldn't be far from the
That'd be
truth there. So our enrollment is going up. So this is the one I have here is August 10th. K-12 is 280. And so we know that it's going to be probably close to 290 or if not more. So it's moving in the right direction.
How's kindergarten look?
Kindergarten. Yep.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'll give that
Okay.
to
Sorry.
but I will say, there was the fear, and Corey, if I apologize if I'm jumping on your touchdown, but sixth grade holding at 32. Second grade is sitting at 26. So we're teetering. So in the action to discuss, we do have an additional teacher for sixth grade. We're very excited to bring him on board, but it is going to be we have a backup plan. We always have the need for a full-time sub. And so if that is, if it doesn't, I don't foresee it dropping, but if it does, we have a backup.
Is there a plan for a full-time para into second grade? Because that's a very high energy.
Yep, we are looking,
Class.
we haven't discussed that at length, but that is something we have kind of briefly talked about. It is a high number, so.
High number, high energy. There's a lot of testosterone in that class.
Yeah, I bring one of those kids home and he's,
I know. I got one of those too, and it's wowza.
so, we'll definitely, I think you'll probably get an email from Corey or I, in the next few weeks on that question alone. The next big thing, Dawn is here and she's been, last night, the driver sat there and they were collecting the pink forms for transportation and she kept giving me the look like our buses are getting full. So, which is a great problem, except we have the need for 4 routes probably and still only 3 drivers. So I'm going to again post on Facebook either tonight or tomorrow. We already have put it in the shopper. So if there's anybody that is, we do have 2 teachers that have the license, but I do not want to use those any more than I have to. So if you know anybody, please give them a shrug to come on in. With drivers, there's a couple of things that have come out with some new things this year. We are scheduled for our inspections middle of September, and they have a new point system. How much that's going to be really honed in on this year is yet to be seen. But they did point out that 2 years ago they brought up the new training that is required for drivers. Right now, that is going to be, it was pushed back to this February and they are holding steady with that. And so if you get your license CDL the day before, I think it's February 6th or 7th, I don't know the exact date, but if you get your CDL the day before, you're good. That day you have to go through like 6 to 12 weeks of training. So, so if anybody's interested, now's the time. There is a grant that I'm going to apply for that they really want us to report every and any stop arm violations this year. So pleading to the community to be on the lookout for those stop signs and do not go through them. There was a local school that had a scare with two youngsters this past year that nearly got hit and killed. So the State Patrol wants us to report every and anything. And there are grants available. So I'm going to be applying for a grant that possibly add those to our buses. Election update, we have one candidate for the November election. So I'm sure that campaign has started.
Do I have to?
No, you're good.
Oh.
You're good,
I'll
Carl.
do this.
Corey and I have had a busy summer, especially a busy August. One of the things we're planning for a staff development week, and this has been her baby, so I'm going to let her go over, share it. But the one thing that I want to evals, we have a kind of a new updated teacher eval that we're going to be rolling. It's really not new. It's what we used prior to me. I wasn't trained, but I went in and trained myself this summer on some of those things. And Corey and I are excited. That's the most confident I've been about teacher training or teacher evals that I have had in the past. And also we do have evals for every staff member. I have it set up and I'll be going over those when the time comes. One thing that we've been hitting or adding to this year is regarding security with cameras. We've added, I don't know the exact number, Bradley, if you remember, we've added cameras to the outdoors. We've always had this one little camera on the door, and as soon as someone opens up, you don't see them anymore. We now have a camera that's pointed to the front. We have one out by the flagpole. We have one by the shop glass or the entrance there. We've added a few more, so the blind spots are taken out of this building. So we do anticipate possibly the need for more. We left some of the older ones in there, thinking, oh yeah, they're in there. We don't need to add to them. And then you see the digital versus analog, and it's like watching, it's like XM to F or to AM radio. The last thing I think I have on here is later on in one of our policies that I'm bringing forth, and this is with Bradley mentioned the ESSER funds, the grants that are coming forward. I think there's a need for some advisory council that would serve. It would be staff members, community members, a few board members, administrative team, teachers. We have a couple of things, important aspects that we're going to be talking or moving forward with over the next few months. World's Best Workforce, updating that. Obviously, the strategic plan. This is maybe the team that would go into that would be included in the strategic plan, but also help with the grant. Just give us ideas. It is required that we have a community-wide effort in discussions in that. So I haven't really given them much thought on what that's going to look like, but I think I just want to put it out there that if there is some interest in there, to let me know if it might be where we're contacting parents specifically that we think would be great, but if there is one that is interested, let us know. But this is obviously not a decision maker, but more of a recommendation to us, to you guys, to some purchases that Bradley and I make, but also some things that you guys would approve possibly in the future. So it could also be the school board, but then we also are looking for other entities, like I said, staff members and parents. So that's why I'm thinking that advisory council will be a better suitable solution for that. So just double check my last thing. That is all I have. I yield to Corey.
All right. So families came to registration last night. We were giving out some, and maybe this is what you're talking about that I'm excited about.
We'll see.
I don't know what you were referencing, but we're bringing back some awards that haven't been here in over a decade. So we're bringing back a Teacher of the Year, which is a certified teacher. We're bringing back, it's called the Lyle Lyon Award, and it's a staff member. So they used to call it an educator award. So we're calling it the Lyle Lyon. So that's any staff member in the building. But then we wanted to go a step further, and we're having a community member award as well. And that more than likely probably wouldn't be a staff member. It could be, but it might not be. It's someone in the community that's made a huge impact that our school wants to spotlight and honor them. So those, I had little flyers that were handed out yesterday at registration, and we'll work on posting them probably on the website, maybe our Facebook page, so others can go in. They're gonna be open until September 17th. And then Jamie or Mr. Goebel and I will be working on going through those and then pulling in some of our student leaders, like NHS members, student council officers, things like that. And they're going to come and work with us to help kind of cycle through everything and choose our winners. We are desperately looking for substitutes. Desperately.
After the meeting, I want to talk to you and Jamie about that. I have an idea.
Great. I hope it's a good one.
It's a great idea in my
Okay.
mind.
We are desperately looking for substitutes.
In my mind, it's a great
For
idea.
all, so I'm talking.
Yeah.
Paras, teachers, kitchen, bus drivers.
Principles.
You just canceled the Zoom meeting.
No, I didn't.
That's terrible.
All right.
Our
That-
internet.
that-
We're still being
that-
recorded, so it just,
Okay,
it's
So I
just
can
that
keep
TV.
talking?
Yep.
Okay.
is Chris,
We have the assessment schedule for the whole year has been updated and posted online, so that's there. I can't remember the exact date of the ACTs, but it's in April. And it's here again, so that will be for juniors. Our kindergarten enrollment.
okay,
Drum roll, please.
You can-
It was 8 the
Don't
last
turn
time we
that
had a
on.
school board
Yes.
meeting. And I said, I'm not going to stress about it
I
because
was
it will
stressed.
improve, it will go up, and we're close to 18.
good job.
So not stressed. There's certain things we stress about in life. Kindergarten enrollment is not one of them.
No, that's one of mine.
Nope, trust me on this.
Okay.
Let's see, I know I've never talked to anyone about this, so I'm just throwing this out there right
Oh,
now.
boy. Buckle up.
Get up, triple.
Buckle up, Buttercup, you don't know what's coming. So we have Lyle Legacy, who
Yeah.
does a lot for our school and a lot for our sports. But we don't have a lot of younger families on, like elementary parents involved in Lyle Legacy. So I'm going to be working on
Bolstering.
getting more younger families.
I
I'm
like
not
it.
talking younger families, I'm talking
Oh.
younger aged,
Yes.
like children. Their families involved.
Elementary people. involved.
Elementary parents.
Yes, I got you. I love
Trying
it.
to get them involved.
I love it.
I'm so happy. I hope I love your substitute thing just as much.
Yeah. I feel bad now. I don't know.
See, that might be what I have. I don't know if I hit what you were talking about.
It was, yeah.
Okay, okay. I was saying, we have stuff planned for staff development, but it's a surprise.
it's
and
a
it's not.
secret.
It's not ready for public yet, so
No.
I can't know, the teachers can't know.
Okay.
They can't know, and I'm so excited. So excited. That's me, that's it. That's all I have.
Oh,
You're gonna serve the rules for everybody one day?
Serve rolls. You
Nope.
don't want me driving bus. Actually,
No.
Nope.
the staff, no, they don't get
cinnamon rolls, donuts.
Powered up for the big round.
well, we
Celery.
are providing lunch.
Okay.
It's not a roll, but I could roll it in on a cart. Ah,
I think Don wants some glazed donuts.
glazed donuts. You can hook up some glazed donuts.
Right.
They're gonna be quick trip glazed donuts, because that's all they have time for.
Just for you, I buy Casey for my kids.
Yeah, there you go. Oh,
Dude, I could do that, I could do that.
anyway.
In your neighborhood.
It is pretty rude.
All right, moving on. Action, items for action and discussion. Consider the approval of the first reading of district policy 740 of post, how do you say that word? In
Issuance.
issuance. Compliance procedure and policy for tax exempt governmental bonds. That seems very important.
So a short version of this, you may recall that we're refunding our bonds this year. Our bond advisors have recommended that we have a policy on how we're going to comply with all the things we have to comply with for bonds.
You have like something that we can just sign, right?
It's a policy, yeah.
Okay.
The policy basically lays out, I'll do all the things that I was gonna do, whether you had the policy or not, and
But we
our
need-
financial advisor, Ayers, will do all the things they were
Oh.
gonna do, whether or not you had a policy. But we're gonna comply with all the laws, that's what the policy is. Letting us know, but the people with all the money can now say, hey, look, they've got a written policy.
Yeah.
So,
So do we need a motion for this? I'll take a motion.
all right.
David, I need a second.
Second.
Chad, thank you very much. All in favor?
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
It's weird not having Carl.
I know, I can't, it really bothers me that
This might be your first one.
yeah, I know, I feel like, I know, you just like me.
It's gonna be shorter.
Yeah.
Control V has, you have to.
Yeah. Consider the approval of e-learning plan for the 2021-22 school year.
Okay, so a few years ago, this was rolled up by the state of Minnesota. We, at that time, we were not ready because our students did not have, I guess, the capability to take the iPads home and everything. But that's one thing COVID has pushed, has forced us to do to allow this. And so what this is a opportunity instead of when I have to postpone the weather school or cancel school because of the snow day, we can still provide some education for these students and not have to worry about using a snow day for it. Some of the details still needs to be worked out with negotiations with the teachers. But the plan that's in front of you, school board, is that what the rationale and the purpose for it. And so basically, there are some aspects of that I have to, communicate this out at least 2 hours before the regular school day starts. So that would be 6:10. Don and I are already, in discussions on what the weather is, but it could happen the night before. Other things, we do have to provide, an education throughout the day. It does not have to be an 8 to 3 o'clock education like they're getting here in the building. But last year, the teachers did a fabulous job of instructing, from their homes. It keeps the students and the staff off the roads so that the, Mother Nature can do what she needs to do and the cleanup crew can do what they need to do. So I do need to communicate this to the families at the beginning of the year. So that's why I'm asking for an approval now. This is basically approving that we're going to be doing this, but the finer details still will come. And so I'm just asking for that approval.
Can I have a motion for the e-learning plan?
I'll make a motion.
Krista, thank you. And a second.
I'll second.
Nelly, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Consider the approval of district policy 612.1, development of parent and family engagement policy for Title I programs.
All right. So this is a policy that we have. It's rather old, and so it's looking for some updates. And the main thing, what I sent to you guys in the board packet was a lot of the red line items, and the majority of this is basically becoming more 21st century words, with families and parents versus just parents. So this is a kind of going back to what I was talking about with the advisory councils, just with our Title I grants that we have to complete, having some involvement in how we communicate the title programs to them is embedded in this. So really nothing changed except more of the grammatical semantics.
Can I have a motion for policy 612.1?
I'll make a
I'll
motion.
make,
Nelly first, Krista second.
yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consider approval of district policy 613, graduation requirements.
So this is a couple things with this one, updating basically from the MSBA literature based on state statute. We're no longer doing grad assessments, so that was taken out. It did remove the superintendent from the DAC position and put the principal. So she did a fabulous job, so I'm gonna keep her in that. Keep her in that. And then also just some of the grad requirements, they took out more of the specific classes for math, for instance, and just more of the credits. What it is, we have different requirements composed to the state, so we updated, made it consistent to what our policies are, so.
Can I have a motion for policy 613? David, you have a second? Chad, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Consider the approval of district policy 616, school district system of accountability.
Very similar to the one that I just said, updated some of the things with our, based on what our grad standards are, what implementation of programs. And this one specifically talks about the advisory team that I just mentioned in my report. So this will give me some guidance on who should be a part of that and how we move forward with that.
Can I have a motion for policy 616?
I'll make a motion.
Krista, can I have a second? Chad? Chad, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Consider the approval of 2021, 2022 students. Oh, sorry, policy 620, credit for learning.
This policy, we've had in play for many years. The one thing that is added,
No.
that, and when a student transfers, especially their senior years, they have to at least earn 2 credits in order to receive a diploma. That's never been in there. The reason I chose 2 credits is basically that means they are here for the full semester, the second semester. I don't want someone coming in May and wanting to walk. That'll give Heather a heart attack. What that would entail, but it just kind of adds some clarity to that. So not a big change on that.
I need a motion for policy 620. David, in a second.
One second.
Nelly, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Motion carried. Consider approval of 2021, 2022 student family handbook.
So this is the annual request for approval of our handbook. A lot of time and energy have been into this. Again, majority of this stuff is embedded in our policies already. So I'm just going to highlight them. Parents, when they get these at open house, not only will they sign for it, the items that are highlighted in gray are the updated things. And there's a few this year. The first thing, this was passed last month or in June, academic eligibility. So if they are at a F at any time and on the first of the week, they will become ineligible until their grades are back up. And we have that I went over to leadership team yesterday, teachers, a processor for making sure that everyone involved here at the school, including the students and parents, are involved in making that
Were the
student turn it around.
teachers kind of like that a little?
They were, I think we'll have some hiccups along the way, just we may have to change the form, but it was similar to what they had before I got here.
Oh, okay.
That
Yes.
by the time I got here wasn't really working, but the policy was, I think it's a little more streamlined now, so.
Okay.
The other thing is, if there's any questions, let me know, I'll explain anything else. Academic expectations, clarity again, how to, if you're cheating, this is what's gonna happen. If you're plagiarizing, this is what's gonna happen. I did make a note, we do have in here and I may not have the right terms, Bradley, if you want to correct me on this one, but I have the lunch and breakfast prices, but I have in here that to begin the 21-22 school year, all breakfast and lunches are free for students per federal programs. So this is a notification, so hopefully.
I think the reduced lunch rate that's in there is incorrect, but that's also 0 this year.
Oh, it's 50 cents in here. Is that correct?
Isn't it 40 cents?
I do not have that
It's been
answer.
free for actually quite a number of years.
I can check on that. So we can,
At one point, it was that if you qualified for reduced, it actually was a reduced price.
We don't have them all printed out.
And
No.
The state covers the reduced amount now.
so we can request for approval based on whatever that is. I did make a note, this was something we implemented last year, and I know the drivers love this, is that if you are assigned a bus to go home, that's your bus. You are not allowed to go on another bus. That was, that is a headache at the end of the day. Communication to families is an addition. This is something that's embedded a couple things, different forms. We need parents to sign up for the parent portal. So specific weather related, we are not doing the alert system that we've used in the past that was simply text messages because it is too expensive. We have a system, Infinite Campus, that works. Parent portal is another name for it. So parents need to sign up for that. If they have any questions, they can contact Heather. And we will be communicating to parents, if their child is is gone for the day, is absent, we'll be calling sometime in the morning to say, hey, where's your child? So hopefully that rectifies some of the attendance issues. Moving on a couple things. We did add that any clothing considered to be out of the norm, such as a cape, flag, sunglasses are not permitted to be worn. So I left that very general because I wanted to, if Corey and I feel it is the norm, we will sit down with that child and decide if it's truly abnormal or normal. So that was really weird. We've added the electronic stuff, basically that what the parents need to sign. Earbuds are not, when I said headphones are not allowed, earbuds are now included on that. We are not going to, because of the COVID issues, we are still not going to allow visitors in the building. Of course, there are going to be, if the parents want to speak with someone in the building, they can make an appointment. We will make exceptions to that. Last year was absolutely, and parents were very respectful of that, but we have to continue that to some extent, and we will. Report cards, parents will, everything's the same on that one, except in the elementary, we are not going to be sending out report cards after the first and third quarter. It's going to be progress reports, because with a standards-based grading, it's really, sometimes there may only be a few standards that we have gotten to that. So it's a little bit, we can give an update in a different way after at the semester time. So page 22 is a big one, just some clarity on if we ever, God forbid, ever have to do a evacuation of the building, just a process that I want them to be aware that we do have a process now that if we ever have to, parents will need to come with an ID to confirm that that is the person they're going home with, just a protection of our students. I rewrote the school closing procedures, again, reiterating, we need the parents to be signed up for the parent portal. I do have the e-learning part in there. I anticipated that you guys would approve that, so thank you very much for that. Snacks. There will not be any milk. There will not be milk breaks this year. Except for kindergarten. So, and I do have literature in here about the red, yellow policy for spectators. In here about the student council. We've had student council in here for the older kids, but now we added a small blurb about the elementary. And then the last thing that we updated, I believe, is regarding our tardies. With Corey brought up last month about the planners. And we have to get on top of students. It was happening too much that students were walking the halls for no apparent reason. And so we are going to go through a pass system. And then if there are tardies, there will be some consequences. It will be in detention after school. Parents will need to pick them up. So I do anticipate possibly some frustrated parents, and as a parent, I would be too. I probably would be more upset with my son. I'm going to say my son.
Wow.
Over it than the administration, but we have to. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I know. Sorry, buddy. We just have to get on top of that. And the teachers have agreed that they need to step up and do their part with that too. And so we will be hosting detentions after school. So
sounds like fun.
And parents will be picking up their children.
Yep. Parents will be required to pick up their children. So that is a very quick rundown of our new and updated handbook.
Can I have a motion for a new updated handbook? David. And a second. Chad, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Anyone not approved? Motion carried. Consider the approval of the Carl Truckenmiller as the JV assistant football coach for the 21 season. I will abstain from this. Please give me a motion, please.
I don't even know if it's legal for you even.
I don't know, that's why can I ask for a motion for myself?
Can I have a motion to approve?
I could ask. for the
I'll
motion.
make a motion.
Thank
Alright.
you, Nelly.
You shouldn't make it, you shouldn't second it, you shouldn't go.
Okay. Is
I'll
there,
second it.
thank you, Krista. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
That's correct.
Consider the approval of the Carl Truckenmiller as the varsity boys basketball coach for the 21-22 basketball season.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Nelly. Second,
I'll second it.
for you, Chad? Okay, Krista, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone not approve? There'd probably be a lot. Motion carried. Approval of Joel Nelson as an unpaid assistant football coach for the 21 season. Dave, second,
I'll second it. Go ahead, Nelly.
No, go ahead.
Krista. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Consider the approval of Corey Bennett as our new sixth grade teacher for the 21-22 school year.
I'll make a motion.
Nelly, you got a second? Is that Chad? You and Dave are so quiet down there.
Tell us a little bit about him.
He was second grade student teacher to begin the year last year. And then he became our substitute. He actually referred to himself as being in a tossed salad because he went around to every single class. What we saw on our end as administration was he had awesome classroom management. He worked well with students. The kids absolutely loved him. A lot of the incoming sixth graders that have found out he was the hire are absolutely excited that he's going to be here.
Until they find out.
Excellent.
Layla had him. She said he was really structured.
Yep.
She appreciated that.
And one thing we are doing is between him and Nicole, we will split the classroom, so it's like a middle school. So it'll be kind of a good training for the
Oh,
So
sixth
they'll
graders
teach-
to get
one will-
used to.
Nicole will teach 2 classes
Yep.
and then he will teach 2 classes.
oh,
So
Nice.
it actually lightens their load a little bit.
yeah, well, that's a good idea. Who hired you guys?
There you go. V.
Consider the approval of the health and safety measures for the 21-22 school year.
All right.
Oh, all in favor? I think we had.
No, you had a motion and you didn't take the vote.
Oh, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No one's opposed, motion carried. Consider the approval of the resolution for health and safety measures for the 21-22 school year.
All right. So I'm gonna admit that this probably has caused a few gray hairs on my part over the last few weeks, and probably even you guys as a school board is wondering what to do. So this whole this has been a hot button issue across the country. Minnesota there's divides on this. So there's a couple of things before you have a resolution. It's rather lengthy because when it's all said and done, will be reduced if passed. So without reading everything, I'm just going to give you my recommendation. The first thing, I'll read this here. My recommendation to you guys is that all staff, students, and visitors within our school district, regardless of vaccination status, are recommended to follow the strategies of physical distancing, hand washing, respiratory etiquette, cleaning and disinfection, contact tracing, screening, testing, staying home when sick. That is basically the a palm branch to everybody involved that, hey, do your part. We ask that you do your part to keep everyone healthy. Number 2, this has probably been do you need leave? Okay.
Can- we can continue, right?
Yeah, we have
We got
4.
four.
We have 4 members. We have 4 members.
All right.
So this one is this is regarding the mask one. This has been obviously the most hot button issue across the state, but
I'm sorry, I guess. So of these two, what is the I don't see the difference.
this one is must and should. It's more, I'm going, it's semantics, yes.
So,
You have a different one. I did give you a different, one, more updated one. Oh, did I not give you one?
I don't know, it's sitting by my pile.
You want one?
Maybe it was one over there.
So this is not what it looks like?
Oh, I'm right here. That's where I'm at.
Oh, well, I was
He does
So you're
ahead-
good?
Okay.
I was ahead of myself.
Number two is, again, the mass one. So basically I think we've given the opportunity for parents to make this decision on their own at this point. This is not to say that I won't have to make this decision to change it in the future. That doesn't say the health department across, or even maybe the governor eventually makes that decision. But at this point, my recommendation is that that we recommend to wear the mask regardless, but it is not required. And if I need to put in here that, that it needs to be, that it's not required, but recommended, I can do that. We will make every attempt to be at least 3 feet. Because of class sizes, that might be challenging in some of them, but we will do everything we can. And then that is, and I think another thing I may want to add to this is that right currently on our buses, it is absolute, they have to wear their masks. That is federally mandated. Parents can make the decision to bring have their children wear their masks. And if there is, and this is going to be addressed to the staff, there will be absolutely no shaming of that. If a student has it, that they need to stop any shaming, mass shaming of if a student does wear one and being picked on. I do not want that at all. So if that is the case, then they need to notify staff, administration here, so we'll take care of that. So that's the mask one.
When it says families can still require their children to wear masks, face shields during the school, I mean, when you say something to me, how are you going to enforce that if the mom and dad are, but the child's not, you know what I mean? Like saying it like that, the families are required versus families have
The option.
the option,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like saying
Yeah, I kind
required.
of, yeah, it seems
Okay.
like,
You're gonna have to, sound like, what if you're gonna have that instance where the child's not going to want to wear it? And how are you going as administration and staff, like, be like, okay, well,
That's a
I
very-
think
that's a good
option
question.
would be a better word.
Yeah, we have actually had that
You know what I
conversation
mean?
of
'Cause this to me is, we're gonna have to
Well,
enforce that. then.
well, are they gonna have to,
Yeah.
I was listening, but I wasn't. Are we gonna have? So say I decide I want Jake to wear his mask to school. Do I have to give you like a note saying, Jake, I would like Jake to wear his mask at school, or he's gonna show up and he's gonna wear his mask?
I think it's going to be rather challenging for us to remember that.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah,
I
so
think-
that's why I think if you
so I-
change it to
Enforce.
option
Okay,
Yeah,
versus
it-
required,
Yeah,
Just changing the word,
families
if
have,
there's a
can
better-
still have the option for
yeah.
children to wear masks. face
but they're gonna
shields.
have,
maybe families may,
families understand
Yes.
that even though they're requiring it for their child might take it off.
Right.
They may
Well,
want them to, but they may still take it off.
Mhm.
I have a feeling
I don't know what's the right word for them, families may,
have the
Read the sentence first.
well, in here it says families can still require their children to wear masks, face shields during the school day if desired.
Families can choose to have their child wear one. Or children, but child and then parentheses rent. Does that make sense?
I have a feeling like the younger ones, if their friends aren't wearing it, they're not gonna wear it.
That's
Mhm.
my feeling too.
And I would say the older ones that are wearing it, well, I think you'll have easier time with the older ones
Mhm.
than the younger ones.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Some level, I feel like there needs to be some encouragement, at least from the teacher's perspective of if your mom, especially for the youngers, if
Yeah.
your mom and dad said you should wear a mask today, please put your mask on.
Yeah.
Not that they have to patrol it in every other way, but at least making that statement.
They could make it a couple times a day.
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
But that,
I mean, not fully patrolling, but just saying,
hey,
if your mom and dad said so.
Mhm.
I know how that would go over at my house. 17-year-old, but.
But he's 17. I'm talking about your K
You
through
know, he
5.
used to listen to me though.
Yeah, I'm talking about your K
Oh,
through 5ers.
Well, we didn't drive to practice together.
Oh.
So,
Good suggestion on that. Next one. At this point, I don't feel that we should require vaccinations, so this one is, it's kind of playing the game of semantics of course, it's all staff basically should be vaccinated unless said person cannot be vaccinated because of a medical condition or sincerely held religious belief. I'm not going,
do we
I'm not
have
going
put
to,
that in there? Or,
we do not have to put that in there. This is just,
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not going to ask.
No, I just wonder. No one else has a problem. I'm fine.
And then honestly, the one that's been wrestling, that I've been wrestling with is number 4, is the quarantine one. There are schools who are choosing to basically, if student A gets sick or we find out confirmed case, we will notify the parents that they're sick and that's it. Then there are some who are doing the full, as much as 14 days. And so the way I have it in here is for close contact and potential quarantine of COVID-19 positive cases, Lyle Public School will contact trace to determine if any student has been within 3 feet of a COVID-19 positive case for more than 15 minutes consecutively. Parents will be notified their student was a close contact of a positive case, and Lyle Public School will utilize the most updated decision tree provided by the Minnesota Department of Health when determining timelines following a close contact. Student who have been vaccinated or previously tested positive for COVID-19 will not need to quarantine if determined to be a close contact. The decision tree, we've been told it's going to be updated. The only thing that came to mind as I was reading that is a previously tested positive case of within the last 90 days. I would have to get Barb's, but
What are Barb's thoughts on any of this?
Well, when I told her that I was considering doing the first of not doing the contact tracing, she gave me the stern look, and she's kind of where I'm at, kind of mixed in between. I was not able to talk to Moore County Health because the lady's on vacation, so I did not get her. But there is another part in this later on that basically I'm requesting that you guys are authorizing me to make adjustments with, as long as I notify you and in consultation with you guys. You know, in the next 2 weeks, who knows what
Yeah,
could
I
change,
know.
honestly.
I might have just wasted
you
a
know,
lot of time.
Yeah, honestly. So
Here's my 2 cents. So I'm gonna go off last year because that's how so my football team got quarantined because of COVID, my basketball team did, and my son's class did. And of all those 3 instances, there was no other cases.
Right.
So we're throwing kids out of school to distance learn. To me, I think, so a kid tests positive, you know, if hey, there was a kid test positive in the class, so you're aware of it, so you can check your kids. But until you have they've already been, you know, the exposure happened. So that kid's gonna get pulled out, right?
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
So if another one happens, that kid's so if the whole class gets it, they're all gonna go home anyways, because they have COVID. So I just don't think the quarantine I don't want the kids out of school anymore. I can't do it. They're getting punished. You know, we're supposed to wear masks, so that's supposed to help that. So I think notifying, and if you have an outbreak, then we have to deal with it. But no, I'm done with the quarantining stuff.
So they're supposed to wear masks, but now we're not saying that they have to wear masks. And now we're going to say, well, we don't really need to quarantine them. So we can just run the risk of exposing everybody. And hell, why don't we just close school down?
But we did that last year. We quarantined kids and nothing came of it. So we had kids out for weeks on end and not for nothing.
But now we're not requiring them to wear masks.
If they're vaccinated, you need to wear a mask. We're gonna get into semantics here.
I know, but I mean, it's on some level, we have to find that medium.
I know, but we're telling them they should wear a mask, but that's a personal choice also.
And they should get vaccinated. personal choice and that's not something we can ask for.
I know.
So at what level do we then try and protect the other children? If we're taking away all those other areas of protection.
You're supposed to stay home when you're ill. You know, that's step one, you know.
I wrestled with this one in the sense that when we are requiring students to stay home, their education is being affected.
Our
Because
high
then they
school was
are,
affected
Their
last,
mentality is being affected.
they are
Yes.
stuck at home.
100%.
And that's the part that's I've been wrestling. And that's why honestly, I've debated whether or not to recommend what Carl's saying is no quarantine to this one is a happy medium in some aspects.
well, so my class gets, someone has COVID, you get told, so I've been told you got COVID in your class, you can stay home.
Mhm.
You don't have to come to school the next day. You can quarantine yourself
And it would be
Right,
excused.
right.
and it'll be excused.
When I guess with me working with a healthcare facility, they're not even taking this drastic of measures for
Because they're,
people who work in a healthcare
because
facility.
no one
They're
can,
not,
right?
they're not.
Yeah,
You know, second grade last year was 2 or 3 times,
Layla had
Which-
it 3.
which was,
And that was like, the third one was hard. It was
Yeah.
Was that-
mentally, it was
Yes.
hard
Yeah,
on her.
that's
And I'm a
almost-
supportive parent, so I can't imagine children
exactly.
who don't have
Yeah,
that.
I agree. I guess,
In the healthcare facility I work at, I have to wear a mask every darn day.
I know,
And I'm vaccinated. Most of the people I work with are vaccinated, still have to wear a mask. And if I were to get exposed, you're right. Because I'm vaccinated, I can still go to work in a mask and it be okay. But now we're not making anybody else do that.
but a
In
lot
a
of,
setting of people that aren't necessarily vaccinated.
right, but a lot of the area schools are doing the recommendating, right?
Mhm.
yes.
Yes.
I think Rochester's the only one that's, I think Austin's no one
Austin is the same.
recommending, yeah, so we're following suit,
I feel like we just need to have stronger verbiage in recommending that. I'm not saying that there needs to be a mandate for the masks, but just,
you would like
Maybe
some signs, you would like signs on the doors, right? Right,
no, just being a little stronger. We truly recommend.
But then that also goes to kids whose parents don't recommend it. So now are you pushing too hard on children whose parents are like, no, I don't want you to wear a mask?
I personally don't think there'll be a law on mask wearing myself, obviously,
I don't
I mean,
believe that either.
I
I
mean,
don't think there will be.
I think this is how it'll be, there'll be 1 out of 10 people wearing a mask. And that's fine, but
Yeah, well, there's a lot of kids that can't get a vaccine.
I totally,
Exactly.
And I have 2 of them.
I understand,
Yeah, I agree.
and I don't judge you for, that's good, great, you're wearing it, but I'm not gonna,
My kids can't get a vaccine.
right,
You have staff there that work there that can't get a vaccine for medical reasons.
Yeah.
Is their health worth that?
so what
Is
you're,
Heather's health worth that?
I don't think that that's what anybody is saying. And I don't think that the wordage about masks needs to change any different than what's in there.
you can put strongly recommend. I don't think it's gonna change anything.
It's gonna be more of the possibly reminders, teacher or
Mhm.
encouraging by the staff.
Right.
There will be some staff who will not encourage because they will not believe in it.
Sure.
There will be some staff who will, and they will, and
And that's,
that's where the shaming thing, we gotta make sure
I
that we're
know.
not,
that's,
Make sure that there is no shaming for someone that does.
no,
either way.
Agreed.
yeah, none, but,
Um,
but I.
Not tolerate either way,
Yeah,
from someone who is wearing one to someone who's not, and someone who, the other way, you know what I mean?
As we know, we have our opinions. and
oh, yeah, yeah.
Some of them are strong,
yeah.
which is, that's life, that's
Yeah,
what it is.
it's okay.
and the mitigation procedures that we're doing, the 3 feet in the classroom, spreading them out. We've made adjustments,
We still
in
gonna have
lunchroom, and
hands, do we have
hand
hand sanitizer in
sanitizer,
every
yep.
room?
Good.
I mean,
And-
that's a,
We're determining, how rooms will be cleaned in the high school from hour to the next and different things like that. So
Are we
What about
going?
lock-
Perfect.
here?
locker rooms will not be
Lockers or
Lockers.
lockers. We are still at this point doing lockers with locks.
The football team, we're gonna try to stay out of the locker room and kind of just
I think that's wise.
until it get, maybe when it starts getting cold, we'll have to come up with a different plan. But I mean, last year, I mean, we had football super late and we just kind of used that picnic area right by the kids kind of, the boys kind of liked it, you know.
Yeah, you spread out a little bit more too.
Yeah, you know.
You're in your pad, so it's big.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I don't want to quarantine, but I don't want to stick them in the locker room either. So
Right.
how weird am I?
No, but
You know what
it's
I-
being cautious though too.
Yeah, you know, I just, we're outside, let's stay outside. And just, let's finish the football season this year with our whole team would be really nice.
That's the situation that we used what was available.
Right.
Yeah,
and say,
yeah, I
and
just,
you liked it.
yeah, we found out it was
I mean,
actually,
I want whatever situation is gonna happen to maintain all our kids staying in school.
yes,
That's all I want.
that's,
And if it takes some of these other measures,
I think-
that's all I want.
I think we
And I
can
think
all agree on that.
regarding the quarantine part, I mean, it's challenging when, you know, the psyche and even the challenges facing a teacher when they have to, when there's 5 kids who have to be quarantined or 15
Yeah, well,
kids,
that's,
and they have to now readjust on the fly to get their instruction. Now,
well,
I am going to ask, you know, that we have it, I think, as far as the 6-12 or 7-12 is that when we were out distance learning, we came back, we continued with Schoology, we continue with Google Classroom so that a lot of the stuff, the students could just, they were basically, instead of their room, they were in the classroom.
Mhm.
It just was, you know, the instruction was more was face to face versus, but they still continued using those technologies. So students, if they are sent home, they have that, but if we're forcing students to go home, that's where I wrestle is they're not getting the most effective instruction. And granted, if they're sick, if it becomes a widespread, then the whole you know, that's the thing that's kept me up at night is that I don't want kids sick, but keeping them at home wasn't effective either. And that's the part that's been challenging. And, you know, you two bring up opposing views on that, but you're both right.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
That's
we
the
are.
hard
Right or
part.
wrong, I mean.
So,
there isn't a right,
I
it
appreciate
just,
that it's respectfully done.
Yes.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
That's what's so nice about it is.
And I knew Chris and I were not gonna have the same, I knew it, but I didn't see
We
what,
want the same goal. but
yes,
what
we do. We just, our
My
way. to-
concern is, you know, watch some amazing podcasts, a couple from some Mayo docs that are, their specialty is vaccinology, immunology, and epidemiology. And just especially like in talking like with the Delta variant, and why vaccinated people are even getting sick with this, still having COVID, is because if you can compare it for a swab of one COVID particle, the Delta is 1,000 times if you took a swab. And that's why it's so much more virulent, because that is more than your body can simply overtake, which is why you can have some very asymptomatic and vaccinated people that now become your spreaders.
Okay,
Chad, any viewpoint? Not to put you on the spot, but.
No, it's good. I was just thinking, I mean, I've had COVID and been through it, of course, been vaccinated, have some underlying conditions of it. But right now, you know, I think we should move ahead with this plan. We should trust our administration to keep a really close eye on what's going on. You know, if a kid gets sick, all of a sudden we start seeing, you know, others getting sick because of that. Well, this policy needs to be revisited at that time. I don't want them, I want the kids to be in school. I don't want to make a situation out of it that's not going to be a situation that's not needed.
So when you say this plan, are you talking about following the decision tree or just notifying parents that they're
just notifying parents and revisiting it. If there's more than one person that gets sick from an exposure, then yes, we need to revisit the quarantine policy or.
Well, I think maybe, I don't know, it needs to be said, like, so we contact the parents and say, hey, we need to pay attention here, we had a COVID case. And that you don't have, you can quarantine for, you know,
And those would be excused.
yeah, I
I would
mean,
have no
they need to
problem.
know that those options are there, just because we're not enforcing it, the parent can make the decision if they want to quarantine and keep their kid out.
Well, the other thing too is now all those availabilities for parents from the
It-
government are not there.
Right,
They are
right,
not there.
Yeah,
So
they're
you
not
also
gonna be
have to take
home.
That
yep,
into account.
yep, they're not gonna be home.
They're not gonna be home. Or the child will be somewhere else. You know, obviously it's different when they're older, but those young kids, that concerns me.
That's also another good reason to send a sick kid to school.
Right, well, that needs to be stressed, well.
I'm only playing devil's advocate. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on board with so much of this, but
I know what you're saying, but I mean, don't our teachers and you guys say, hey, shouldn't you go?
Oh.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Right?
As they're
symptoms
walking in
and
the
they're not
door, you
here.
can tell.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the more they know the kid, they make it. And the parents were fabulous with that last year. That was
They were
incredible
wonderful.
how they,
right,
you know, there was few who brought the kids to school and either, you know, one of those two or Heather or Barb checked them out and, okay, I'm sending them home. They just, the parents stayed just to make sure that what our recommendation was and they took them home.
I guess I feel, I mean, I feel comfortable with that. I mean, that's what we did last year. It just, we're fighting over the quarantining, I guess.
It'd be a lot easier if it was adults.
Right.
Say Boston, the rule there is if there's an exposure, if you're exposed and you're vaccinated, you don't have quarantine
Yeah.
unless you have symptoms, but kids can't get quarantined. So it makes it a little bit cloudier, but.
Yeah, Well, I'm
otherwise, if
okay.
You're exposed and you weren't vaccinated, then you have to quarantine for 10 days. I believe that's what CDC recommends. But kids is a little.
and right now, all of our high schoolers have the availability of getting vaccinated.
Welcome back. So what we've been talking about is, I don't know where we were, but basically changing the wording in here, but like strongly encouraging, maybe even not even recommending, but actually just strongly encouraging, or do you want recommending, or both?
I'm okay.
It's a semantics game, of course, but
Right,
the mask, and that parents are, you know, can still choose to have their child wear their mask throughout the day. I would also add in here the transportation part in here.
yes,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
And,
that has to be enforced.
yeah.
So it's mandated.
Yes.
Yep,
And
we're
then,
not arguing over that one.
and then the other one
Nope.
is I brought forward that we would use a decision tree based on the quarantines of a close contact. We've been discussing, this is the one I said I've been wrestling with. But if we want kids, we don't want to send kids home automatically if they've been exposed. So the thought is, from a few of them, is that we notify parents that they can make the choice to keep their kids home.
If
They
don't
would
have
be-
symptoms.
Yep. And then, obviously, if there are symptoms, they need to stay home
Yeah.
and we will send them home. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
So you ain't force them to stay home.
Unless there's symptoms.
It-
There's no symptoms.
But I think there is the part in here that, you know, there may be a decision that we may have to, Corey and I may just have to make a decision.
What about,
Second grade, for instance, last year, you know, you were personally affected with that with your child. They had to be home multiple days. It was close to 30 days, I think. You know, and that we need them, a certain class, a group, if there's been multiple, you know, there might be situations where we may have to force that. So I hope it doesn't get to that point. Does that make sense?
What about, I mean, to like make it in the middle, like children who are exposed and choose to come without symptoms still are tempt? Is that something you can do?
Or
can't
mask.
do?
We mask that, but if there's a positive case.
You know what
class,
I
they're
mean?
masked
We
for-
could
Because
have
you
that,
could have a
we could
temperature
require a
For
mask
the,
for that.
for the grade levels that are, would that be for anyone, like the grade levels that are not vaccinated, or would that be for all?
As opposed to quarantining to be masked for those 10 days.
Yeah,
I think that's like a happy medium between
I think so too.
opposing, you
I,
know what I mean?
I,
Something that we can come to an agreement on to help each other's side.
right,
If we're still gonna be in school, how can we
keep them in
keep them
school.
in school for
But
those
yet-
who are?
But mitigate as much exposure as possible.
Yeah.
So maybe,
So we would
So
still
if you-
notify the families, give them their options.
Yeah.
And then for those in school for 10 days, they would wear a mask.
I think that's a,
That
I think
seems,
that's a good,
I'm very happy with that
okay,
as a meet in the middle to keep kids in school.
yeah,
Because I agree. I completely agree with you, Carl. Last year with high school, middle school, it was a disaster.
right. There's no
Chris,
right
you're cutting
answer.
out.
You're
lost
not,
her.
Chrissy,
oh, she's,
you're cutting out.
We'll wait for it.
Oh, sorry.
There.
We lost you at disaster.
yeah, just.
Oh, I'm just saying, it was a disaster for the middle school and high schoolers, and I agree with you 100%. I don't ever want to see that happen again, and
I
I
just,
just want to make sure that we can keep everybody in school
I'm,
and safely.
that's a good compromise.
I think so.
I'm not against wearing a mask. That's not. I don't know where my line is yet, but I have a line somewhere. I go back and forth on it.
And be also clear, Corey, as we rewrite this tomorrow, that if we give them the option to stay home, they are still attending.
Yes.
They're still
On
taking part in
e-learning.
classes, because I could see, oh,
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
free pass. I can get home
Yeah.
for 10 days and I,
Oh, no.
because
Yeah.
attendance
No,
is
no, no.
something that we have to, we are
Yes.
emphasizing a lot this year. So, okay. Is that a good?
I
I
feel,
think
ca-
it's a good compromise for.
I will say, like I said, mask is I love the idea, but I'm just being devil's advocate here is masks are a contentious issue that could be,
but we're giving a reason.
I know.
It makes it a little easier to say, hey, this, we're trying to keep you in school. Yeah, I know you don't think masks work, but someone told us it does, we just gotta.
Got
It's also
10 days.
Yeah,
families that are adamant about it and, they're scared to send their kids because
right.
people aren't wearing masks. Whether I believe it or not, I still want each side to feel
Safe.
safe.
Yep, I agree.
Parents need to feel safe sending their kids to a
They
school.
do.
Period.
I agree with you. I don't know where we're
So
at anymore.
from that point, so let me just run over real quick. Basically recommending to follow all the strategies.
Yeah.
We'll be doing that. We are recommending or strongly encouraging to wear masks. It's not required. We will do the 3 feet as much as possible. Parents can still choose to have their child wear their mask. All staff should be vaccinated, but not required. And then for close contact, we will notify the parents, give them the options of what their choices are, either to send their kids in. And if they do, they need to wear a mask for 10 days. If they choose to stay home, they will need to follow attendance procedures, but also they can take part in class and they will be excused for those. Okay.
What during those 10 days, I mean, do you have the parent evaluate for symptoms, or
Yeah,
That's a good thing.
Yep.
is it something that
And
staff, when they come in, they need to check in?
I would,
We already evaluating the symptoms every day,
Yeah, I mean, we're already
parents.
watching.
yeah, the parents are still required,
we'll have to communicate that
Yeah.
again, because
Yeah.
it's been a while,
Yeah,
but
and then we could
Yeah.
pay closer attention to that aspect in
Those,
to that classroom.
it is.
So-
Sorry.
Oh, it's-
He's really
I know,
excited to
I
watch.
know across from all the staff, I mean, there would be kids that would get off the bus and would come in the building, and if one of our drivers noticed someone wasn't feeling well, they were in the building telling one of us right away, like, hey, so-and-so didn't look good. You know, so it's constant communication all the way down to the student. So before they even get into their classroom, if they're not feeling well or looking well, we've already caught them. They haven't even gone in their classroom yet.
I
They're
would-
already in the office.
I would say,
You guys have done such a great job
Yeah,
last year. Oh my gosh.
I would think some older kids would even start,
saying stuff.
dude, I want to, I want to go, I want to go to my basketball game tonight.
Right.
Right?
Oh.
Yep.
Well, and kids, they're scared too. So they're-
Oh, yeah.
They will be like, I'm so-and-so.
I'm nervous. Jake's got terrible allergies. Terrible. Hopefully,
Our nurse is a farmer, so she knows that.
I know, but some days he doesn't look very good.
And then the last two sections, basically, you can make this decision, yea or nay, but it's authorized me to basically, after consultation with the chair and notification to you guys, that I would, if I'm need to change any of these policies, anything on the fly. Obviously, let's hope it doesn't get to that point, but I will keep you abreast on that. And then, I don't know if that's a pretty standard MSBA
Yeah.
statement. I don't,
I'm okay
nothing
with
jumps
that.
out at me.
What you're hired for.
Right?
That's what they tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Maybe it's in this. Okay, so
I guess we need a motion to approve this resolution as we've discussed. I don't think we need to
Okay.
reiterate everything.
I need a motion for approval of health and safety's measures as we discussed.
I'll make a motion.
Nelly, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Krista seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion carried. Consider approval of changes of a calendar for the 21-22 school year, 2 PM early dismissal for Wednesdays.
So last year, we didn't do the PLCs, but previously we've had PLCs on the first Wednesdays of every month for the first 2 hours. Last year, the proposal was to do it in the afternoon. We felt it would be better to do with everything, all the systems, but weren't able to do that. So the plan was to do every Wednesday afternoon, or not every Wednesday, the first Wednesday at the end of the day for 2 hours. Last week, SMEC across the Ed Center and then all of their level 3 and 4 programs made the decision, and they were approved by the cabinet this week to do every Wednesday 2 o'clock dismissal. And for them, it was the staff meetings, some trainings. I got Corey and I talking about this. Kingsland has been doing this for several years. And some of the difficulties we've had is finding time for staff meetings because the day ends at 3:20, the contract ends at 3:20. Sometimes it's difficult to have staff meetings and then different things going on. So the proposal that we brought to the leadership yesterday was that every Wednesday we would end at 2 o'clock instead of the 3 o'clock. Okay. They really liked the idea. Mainly the reason is we would do a schedule, basically PLC meetings for teacher development. If there's trainings that we need to do, if Barb needs to give some trainings or whatever, if I do, or Corey, staff meetings, meetings with specific groups in the building, such as my high school staff versus all staff. It was very difficult last year to have a staff meeting with everybody just because of things. So in front of you, I just a draft of a letter that I would, and of course I'm going to be sending out a full letter tomorrow, but basically I'm just saying it would be in a proposal to add more training and development for our staff. Because of Wednesdays, obviously 2 o'clock, one of the issues is all the buses the routes would stay the same. It would just be bumped up an hour. And if our students who need to stay after for basketball practice or need a shuttle up to Pacelli for practice, we will have supervision and a space for them to catch up on homework or just hang out for the hour.
I'm okay with that.
This, I think we're probably gonna see this kind of momentum across SMAC, because I think everyone kind of like, oh, I kind of like this idea. I know Southland's doing something, but they're adjusting their schedule, but the kids are gonna be building. We need more time to have this. When I looked at the numbers, we actually have more hours than most school districts. And I did the math this morning. We still have a several day cushion in our schedule, even with this. This only knocks out 30 some hours off of our total allotment. And so it is and the teachers really thought this, I was more surprised that how overwhelming the teacher
excited.
team was. We like this. We will not, this is not it. We've made it clear, this is not gonna be prep time. We made it, there may be times where the meeting ends sooner. They may have a few extra minutes, but it's not intended. It will not be intended for prep time. This is not going to be for IEP staff meetings or staffings for parents, because this is truly PLC teacher development that we want. And the other idea that teachers brought up is even for paras, they might need some training or staff meeting with us, so we can provide that for them as well.
It might be a little better too, because I know some parents have talked to me about the late start on Wednesdays.
I know
It's
a lot
a
do not like
pain,
that.
yeah, it's a pain for your
Mhm.
daycare and all that. So this might be, so your morning schedule stays the same.
Yeah.
Seems like afternoons, it's easier.
Easier on them.
So maybe that will make a few people.
One of our teachers, Ms. Heimer, went through and she adjusted schedule. So instead of a 52-minute, I don't even know what it is. She made it, I didn't calculate it, but it's probably going to be we're just going to reduce the 7 hours to maybe 45 minutes an hour. So every
I know.
class will take place.
Just
Nobody's getting cut short.
like
Everybody's-
5 minutes or
Yeah.
something.
There's no prep 7th hour, so we don't have to worry about teachers,
Oh.
any prep time being issued. It's across the board equal. So. Any questions, thoughts? Motion?
Can I have a motion to approve the changes for the calendar for the 21-22 school year at 2 p.m. early dismissal for Wednesdays? David, thank you. You looked at me, so you gave me like this.
They're quiet, but they need to.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Ellie, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Look forward to that. That'll be a good change.
I think so.
When you first said that, I wasn't super excited, but then I kind of thought about it. I think it'd be all right. I don't like change though. Oh, it's me, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot, I'm the board chair. I gotta move along. School board member comments, any? I don't have any. Future meetings and calendar, open house, September 2nd. First day of school, September 7th. Can I have a motion for adjournment? David, have a second? Chad, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Have a good night, everyone.
Oh, you keep them away.